Hello everybody and welcome to our 2 days webinar with the Migration Center team. Today's topic is a very special one indeed. It's about artificial intelligence, but before we go ahead to the content, let's do one quick slide of housekeeping. Please note that all attendees are muted during the whole session. If you should have a question, you can just enter it either into the questions panel or into the chat panel and I will collect them and we will take care of those questions after the main session in our Q&A session. Please also note that this webinar is being recorded and we will share it with you after the session. Okay, today's main speaker, single sole speaker is Florian, our Director of FME Products. My humble self, I'm Mark, the Product Marketing Manager here at the Migration Center team. And with that, I don't want to keep you waiting. I will hand over to Florian, who will then start the slideshow. So have fun.
Yeah, thanks, Mark, for the introduction and the housekeeping. So yeah, as Mark mentioned, my name is Florian. I'm running the product here at FME. And before we go through the topic today, I would just give you some, let's say, information about FME for all of you who are not familiar with us. So we are a private held company headquartered in Germany and operating in the US and Romania. And we believe in the opportunity of digital transformation. And of course, we love to help our clients worldwide to maintain and create competitive business with offerings like data migration, professional services for life science, industrial manufacturing, and many other industries. So FME itself was founded in 1995, and today we have about 220 employees worldwide. And these employees are mainly focused on technologies like enterprise content management, business intelligence, cloud, social collaboration, and of course also custom software development. So, and now we start talking about artificial intelligence. And before I talk about Migration Center, I would just have a look back to the history of AI. And of course, this history starts with one of the most familiar science fiction movies, The Wizard of Oz, which was published in the first half of the 20th century. In this movie, the concept of artificially intelligent robots was born. In the 50s, a couple of scientists addressed the concept of artificial intelligence at the very first time in a more scientific context. And one of such persons was Alan Turing, who explored the mathematical possibilities of artificial intelligence. But what stopped Turing from getting to work on these possibilities? So first of all, computers needed a fundamentally change. Computers lacked a key requirement for intelligence. And they could not store commands, they could execute them. In other words, you could told the computer what to do, but they could not remember what they did. So that's one of the first problems. The second problem was, of course, the really dramatically high cost for computers. In the early 50s, the cost of leasing a computer ran up to $200,000 a month. So I talk about dollars. Yeah, between 1957 and 1974, computers could store more information, of course. They become faster, cheaper, and more accessible. So machine learning algorithms also improved, and people get better at knowing which kind of algorithm to use and to use for those problems. So the optimism was, of course, pretty high, the expectation even higher. But however, it was still a long way to go before natural language processing, abstract thinking, or, for example, self-recognition could be used in production. In the 80s, AI was boosted by two main sources. So the increasing amount of algorithm and toolkits and the availability of funds. So during this time, deep learning technologies or techniques were developed, and the Chinese government heavily funded such projects. From 1982 to 1990, they invested more than $400 million with the goal of improving, for example, technologies like artificial intelligence. Unfortunately, most of the ambitious goals were not met, with the result that the fundings chased and the AI fell out of the limelight. So ironically, in the absence of government foundings and this public hype, AI developed continuously. During the 1990s and the 2000s, many of the goals of artificial intelligence has been achieved. In probably some of you remember, in 1997, the Grandmaster of Chess, Garry Kasparov, was defeated by a chess-playing computer program called IBM Deep Blue. And this was definitely a huge step towards for artificial intelligence decision-making programs. And today, we live in the age of big data, an age which we have the capacity to collect a huge amount of information and the necessary computer power to process those data. Artificial intelligence applications are mainly everywhere, and are successfully implemented in a couple of industries like banking, marketing, entertainment, and so on. The algorithm itself doesn't improve very much, but because of the big data and the massive computer power we have available today, artificial intelligence solving many different problems today. So when we here at FME, we ask ourselves how artificial intelligence could improve the content migration process in the future. And finally, this leads to an R&D project, which we started about 12 months ago. And by end of November, this is the plan currently, we will release our first AI-driven module for our product migration center. But I mean, there are also some people in the audience today which are not really familiar with Migration Center, and I will just keep a moment and give you a short overview about what we do with our Migration Center, what Migration Center does. So first of all, Migration Center is a real out-of-the-box content migration platform. I say platform because we handle more than just one use case and just one technology. So it is really out of the box, so that means no programming or scripting effort is needed. We have more than 500 customers around the world, and we're providing about 140 different migration passes from multiple platforms. So when I talk about migration passes, I mean always the combination of source to target system. So we can handle migrations without downtime. So that means that our migration process do not affecting your daily business operations. We have a classification engine inside our product, which allows you to classify objects through, let's say, rules or functions. So it's not, at the moment, it's not artificial intelligence based. It's just configuration, different algorithm or different, let's say, functions, and build a transformation rule to manipulate metadata and move metadata from A to B, or map those metadata, or accessorize or photo structures, etc. So this product is also made for heavily regulated environments. So at the moment, about 90% of the top 10 and 60% of the top 30 pharmaceutical companies, for example, use our migration center. They have really specific needs in terms of regulations and validation. So it's made for high volume migrations. Of course, we have a global service present with our professional services from FME, but also with our dedicated partners around the globe. So Migration Center consists of three main components. This is the Windows client, this is the control center for all migration phases, jobs, and processes. There's a database in the middle, which consists, let's say, which includes the business logic and all performance critical processes. And the job server, finally, which handles the export and import capabilities of Migration Center. As you can see here on the slide, there's a picture which shows all our adapters. As I mentioned, we have about 140 different combinations of source and target connectors. So we call them migration passes. So if you look just shortly, that's the last slide about Migration Center. If you want to learn more about Migration Center, just drop us a mail or request a one-by-one demo, or watch one of our webinars, our recorded webinars, which you can find on the YouTube channel. But the main capabilities are definitely the meter transformation engine in the middle, the capabilities to handle really large volumes of data, a predefined migration approach, the Delta migration capabilities, which allows you to migrate systems without downtime, the capabilities for sensitive environments, and finally, the platform is open for other adapters and technologies, which, yeah, our partners, yourself or FME can include into our platform. Okay, so that's about Migration Center, just to give you an overview and give you an idea what exactly we do. And now we will go through the main topic today, and that's the artificial intelligence topic and how this kind of technologies can improve the migration process in the future. So with our capability, with our new AI capability, we trying in the very first let's say step, we're trying to solve one main issue of our customers, and this is classified unstructured documents. And I believe all of you have some unstructured documents, for example, sitting in the file share or somewhere else. So, and it's always really a mess to really classify these documents and give them a context, right? So, but how we do that, or where are the main problems? If we look to the artificial intelligence technologies itself, so it's a really high level, let's say, process diagram here, which shows mainly the steps you have to execute to use artificial intelligence technologies. So, and the first step is defining training data. So that means find a representative amount of meaningful training data to train an artificial intelligence algorithm. So the next step is to train the algorithm, then validate the quality of the algorithm. So that means test if the algorithm do really what you expect. And finally, use this trained model, this trained algorithm to, for example, make a decision or classify the document. So, and the biggest problem, and probably you ask yourself, do we really have a representative amount of meaningful training data available today? And we believe you do. And this is the scenario we have in mind. And just think about your existing ECM application or repository or system. I mean, you have probably thousands of users classifying documents or storing documents nearly every day. So that means there are some classified documents available, which you probably can use as training data for train an artificial intelligence algorithm. And mainly, I mean, the classified content grows nearly every day. So, and we are able, with our AI module, we are able to open this treasure chase and make this classified information available for your next content migration project. But how we do this trick, and what are the main steps of using our AI module, and how especially this module works with source and target systems. So if we look on the left-hand side, so there's the existing ECM system, and all this classified data are sitting in that system. And with our module, we extract those documents and the metadata, so the classification, from this existing system. So the next step is to reduce the amount of information to the essential, let's say, the essential information you need to train an algorithm. And the result of this phase, of this reduced phase, is the training set of data, which you can use in the next phase to train the artificial intelligence algorithm and generate a trained model. Of course, you also do the validation during this phase, but mainly you train the algorithm, and then you are able to use this trained algorithm or this trained module to classify documents from the source system. Doesn't matter if it's a file share or a document management system. So with this algorithm, you can just send the content to the module, and in return you get the classification and a level of confidence, so which you can use during the assign process to generate new metadata and use this classification then for the import into the target ECM system. So how does it look in detail? So let's go to the first phase. So as I mentioned, we're extracting the existing information from your ECM repository. So that's, of course, it's a combination of unstructured content. So that means Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDF, whatsoever, and a couple of classifications or metadata you have in your system. So in this particular example, here we have the type. It is a quote, it is a protocol, it is an invoice, an order, and so on. And we have the company, and we have, for example, the product. So with this raw data, we go to the next step and feed our preprocessor engine, which extract the text from the different formats, sometimes do OCR, clean up the text and reduce the information. And the result will be the set of training data. So that means the optimized content as just pure text, reduce pure text, and the different classifications which are pulled from the existing system. With this training set of data, we feed our AI processor. And the processor, of course, train the algorithm and validate the results. So you can, of course, adjust the results or the algorithm if you want to. And the result is a trained model. And this trained model can be used in the classification phase. So for example, here we have a new document from the source. It's a PDF document. This will be sent to the classifier service, and the classifier returns the different, or let's say the different classifications or metadata. And as you can see, it's not just the value itself. So I mean, in this case, the classifier says, okay, the type is a quote, and the company is FME, and the product is Migration Center. I mean, this is nice, but you need also the confidence to really decide if you want to use this kind of information, because this kind of, let's say, approach we have in mind with our module is not a 100% approach. You can cover a lot of information. I will come to that point later. And the quality is pretty high. But at the end, you need the level of confidence for each of the different classes or attributes the artificial intelligence algorithm provided as a result. And in this case, for example, the quote, the algorithm says, okay, the confidence is about 93%. FMEAG as a company, it's 92, but you can see at the on the product, it's Migration Center, it's just 51. So, and with this information and the original content, you have more or less an AI classified objects within Migration Center. So, and based on this AI classified objects, you can feed our transformation engine, and you can set up different, of course, different rules to deal with this kind of information. So again, you have the class, so the metadata, the value itself, and the confidence. And you can set up, for example, an if condition, which says if the confidence is higher than 90%, I trust the AI classified information. If not, if it's below 90%, I set, for example, the value of unknown, or I handle this kind of documents in a different way. So, and this results then after the transformation in a new content object for the target system. And in this case, we have the PDF, which is a proposal. We have the customer name, FMEAG. We have the product name, which is unknown because in this case, the artificial intelligence algorithm could not really, came up with a really high confidence. And we have the content type, of course, it is a PDF, and many other attributes if you like. So that's really flexible. You can nearly set any kind of information to that content object. So yeah, and that's more or less how it works. And I mean, this content object can be now imported into, for example, Documentum, SharePoint, Box, whatsoever. And just to show you how it works in real, so we prepared a short demo. So let me go out from that presentation. And here I have a folder. At the moment, the folder is empty. I will just copy a couple of files into that folder. The files are from a file share in this case. So this is also the idea of the demo. I will show you unstructured file share migration to Documentum and classify the documents through the type of, let's say, objects. So it is an invoice, it is an offering, whatsoever. So all these different types we will automatically detect by our trained artificial intelligence algorithm. And this, of course, this algorithm is, of course, trained by data from our repository here internally at FME. Okay, so that's the first step. So I have now the source information. Now I went through Migration Center. Some of you probably know Migration Center, so that's the client. I will not go through every capability or feature in Migration. I will just show you a sneak peek of especially this artificial intelligence capability. So, and this capability is in our scanner at the moment. So that means when you open the scanner configuration, which let's say scan the information or extract the information from the file share, you have the, let's say, the common configurations like the scan folder path. In this case, this is the source folder on my desktop. You have a lot of other different capabilities you can switch on and off, or you can define. So, and you will find an AI model file path, and this is the pointer to the trained to the trained artificial intelligence model to auto-classify the documents. So I can save this this information and click just on Run, and now automatically Migration Center will scan this folder and extract the information from the folder and from the files, and also extract the content and classify the content through the artificial intelligence trained algorithm. See, okay, now they are finished. So they've scanned 196 documents and also classified those documents. So, and now let's go through the migration set again. So open the configuration. Everything is pre-configured just to save time. And then we select this scan run with this artificial intelligence demo documents. I will add those documents to the migration set and select those objects. So the objects now are logged for this migration set. And as you can see here in this migration set panel, you see now there are 196 objects unprocessed. They are not transformed, they're not validated, they're not imported, and they have at the moment no errors. It's just really this first step of, let's say, using the information. So now let's have a look to the source information. So that means the information we got from the source during the scanning process. And I will just go through two attributes here, and we will focus just on these two. And this is the AI class and the AI confidence. And as you can see, this came from the artificial intelligence algorithm, so from the trained model. So that means in this case, it says that's the protocol and the confidence is 52%. There's the invoice and the confidence is 99, and so on and so forth. So you see always the confidence and the class which was returned from the artificial intelligence algorithm. So, but how to use this information for a migration? So for that, we go through the transformation engine and the configuration of the transformation engine. So, I mean, I prepared a couple of different attributes here and a couple of system attributes and so on. But again, it's just really a demo of this particular case and not of all functionalities. And therefore, I will go to the classification attribute, and as you can see here, this is exactly what I have done. So I created an if condition within the transformation rule and say, okay, if the IA confidence is above 90%, so then use the AI class. So that means this classification. If not, set the attribute to unknown. The same I used for the subject. So I use this if condition also for the subject with just one additional function, and this is the map value function. So that means I mapped the, for example, protocol to protocol with an uppercase and so on and so forth. And I use that also for the folder path. So you will see that later. So I create a new folder path also based on this new class, which is returned by the artificial intelligence algorithm. So now I say okay, and I execute the transformation. So, and then we can have a look to the processed objects and see the new metadata. And in this case, we will just focus on, for example, the folder path. As you can see now, there is a new folder path created. So that means all documents, or this document, for example, goes through the cabinet in Documentum. This is a Documentum demo at the end, so I will import that to Documentum later on. It's an artificial intelligence cabinet with a folder invoice, and that's where this document will be stored, because the confidence was above 90%, and we will use this classification. And as you can see, I know the titles of our documents pretty well. So, and I can tell you this is definitely an invoice. And for example, this is definitely protocol, because test protocol in German, test protocol, this is definitely what it is. So now I created a couple of new metadata and folder passes and stuff like that based on the artificial intelligence module. So, and the next step is apply the validation. So that means we will make sure that this new metadata and information are really fit to the target system. And now I'm done, more or less, and I can import the information. And as I mentioned, let me reload the Documentum environment here. So this is a Documentum administrator, just to make it simple, right? So, and this is the cabinets here, and typically behind the cabinets you have a folder structure. At the moment you see there's no artificial intelligence cabinet available. So let's go back to Migration Center, go to the importer configuration, and here we have an importer for Documentum. I will not go into the details. You can configure a lot of let's say features if you want to, but we just keep it as is and just select the migration set with this artificial intelligence demo documents, and say OK, and just click on run and start the import. So that should be pretty fast, I hope. Let's wait a moment. So now the import process has been started. So let's wait. Now the documents are importing finished. So now the documents are in Documentum. And if I refresh this list here, you will see there is now a new cabinet called artificial intelligence. And if I click on this cabinet, you see a folder structure based on this classification we made with this artificial intelligence module. So that means you see, okay, here in this folder, there are concepts, contracts, invoices. Let's go to the invoices folder, and you see here, okay, that seems pretty good. So there are a lot of invoices in it. So, and let's show the subject as well here. 1 second, just to see if the metadata are set in the right manner. Let's see. So I sent, where's the subject? Let's see. Oh, where's the subject here? I cannot set this subject. One moment. Okay, let's go another way. So let's have just a short look to the properties, so then we can see the subject hopefully very quick. Yeah, so here subject is betreff in German. So, and you see the subject is invoices. So that means the categories or the classifications are set to the documents in Documentum. So, and again, so every document which has a, let's say, a confidence level above 90% goes in the right folder. Just the documents which couldn't be classified or goes through that unclassified documents folders. So, and here maybe you can see all the documents which are not classified. Okay, that was a really sneak peek into a demo. I mean, typically a demo, needs much longer than just this couple of minutes, but just to save time, we definitely need to focus just on this particular case. So, I mean, the takeaway for you is definitely that our classification engine is able to classify about 75% of all documents with the confidence above 90%, with a really small set of training data. In this case, it was just a few thousand. I believe it was 3,200 training data we used, and we could really classify 75% of all documents with a really high confidence. And you can imagine this kind of feature can be used for a lot of different use cases. So for example, onboarding file shares to an ECM system and set meaningful metadata, which typically doesn't exist in the file share. So you can merge repositories and harmonize and enrich the metadata. You can also, for example, archive file shares to an enterprise archive and set or give them a kind of context to be better searchable later on. You can improve e-discovery by extracting information from the unstructured content itself. You can set safety classifications for documents, and you can increase the quality of search results within your ECM system because you can provide tags for the documents based on the content itself, and so on and so forth. So there are many, many use cases to classify unstructured content and give the unstructured content more, let's say, meaning, more context during the migration or during the archive process and so on and so forth. Okay, yeah, that's everything from my side so far. That's the overview about what we have planned for our artificial intelligence capabilities for Migration Center. And again, we plan to release this kind of functionalities in a productized version in November, or latest by end of this year. So, and if you are interested in, let's say work with these capabilities or try that capabilities in your project, so just give us a call, send us an email. We are definitely looking for customers who are interested in become an early adopter or do a proof of concept before the official release. Okay, so now I will hand over back to Mark, and yeah, he has some information for you, which probably are also valuable for you.
All right. Thank you, Florian, for the very interesting presentation about artificial intelligence. Before we head to the Q&A session, let me just give you a quick overview about our upcoming webinars. We have a full schedule for this month as well as the upcoming month. First off, at the end of October, the 25th of October, we are taking care of the migration from IBM Content Manager to Microsoft SharePoint and Alfresco. And then in the beginning of November on the 1st, we have a partner webinar with OpenText about the topic of decommissioning IBM Notes Domino to OpenText Info Archive. Then on the 8th of November, we take care of the topic of what to do if your ECM system is not on our portfolio. And then on the 27th of November, we have another webinar, but I just see that this is not official yet. We will keep you updated on that if the date stays the same or will be postponed or moved to another day. Okay, so up next is our website. We do have a dedicated website about our product, which is migration-center.com. And on there, you can find all the information Florian just talked about on a high-level base, much more in detail, like product features, like our references. You can see what services we offer. You can take a look at our already mentioned recorded webinars at our content migration blog, and you can, most importantly, test our Migration Center for free. You can request a free evaluation copy, which is a fully functional copy of our Migration Center for a 14-day trial base. And just go there, fill out the form, and we make sure to get back to you as soon as possible. So I would say that's it from our side today. Thank you for attending. We hope to see you soon in our next and upcoming webinars. And yes, always remember, it's Migration Center you love to work with. Have a great day and bye-bye.
Guys, bye-bye.